Over the past few weeks I've been lucky to experiment with Salvia. I want to share my experiences with others, as others' reports have helped me understand my own relationship with the herb. Having tried both the quid method and smoked plain dried leaves with little effect other than mild sensations and unusually high susceptibility to alcohol, my psychonaut partner and I learned more about extraction methods. I highly recommend the Salvia divinorum FAQ at lyceum.org for anyone who is curious about the methods I describe below. Our first series of experiments came from a home-extracted 25 grams batch. We presently use denatured alcohol as our solvent medium. This was probably a 5x batch. My first experience was rather late at night with just my partner and I home. The living room light was on, but no music or television. He packed a bowl for me and a glass pipe. Since experimenting with both a glass pipe and a water pipe, I have to agree with him that a glass pipe works better with extracted enhanced leaves than a water pipe. I took 2 deep hits. Apparently I tried to get up, and he told me to sit back. I believe this set the mood for my quick trip to Neverland. My attention was turned to a gathering. I had a distinct impression that I was at a social gathering, but not quite a boisterous party. I don't believe that anyone actually talked to me, but more like communication on such a basic level, perhaps similar to a cellular level. I had the feeling that I had been there before, and that I remembered that sort of twisted sense of non-reality. Suddenly my attention turned to my partner, who got up and walked across the room and back to the couch for some reason. While he was at the other end of the room, I had the feeling that I was actually quite far away, and gradually being pulled back to this universe, for lack of a better word. As I was leaving my Neverland, I had a distinct impression that I wasn't wanted there. Perhaps I wasn't ready for that experience. At this point I also became aware of a pins and needles feeling over my entire body. After this experience I decided this was not a party high, and looked to each experience with much respect. This is my opinion, but I cannot stress this too much. We decided to try it with a light and sound machine a few days later. I took 3 deep hits. After about 2 minutes I took the goggles and headphones off. I remember doing this with much determination. Once again I tried to get up and my partner tried to keep me calm and on the floor. Something was terribly wrong with the situation. I believe my senses were too overwhelmed. I remember having a conversation with Todd, my friend, that they said it was wrong. Who they are and what it is I can only guess. Perhaps the conditions must be right to seek them, perhaps an ally for you Castaneda fans. I walked across the room and sat on the floor, feeling very alien, as if this dimension isn't reality. I had a very Matrix moment. Eventually everything became normal, and I felt at home in my body and with everything around me. We got another shipment of dried leaves and made a more precise extraction. I believe this to be a 6x extraction, plus we scraped the residue of the glass baking dish. I believe this is a soft tar extract. I packed the pipe half full with the extract-enhanced leaves, then used 1/4 the amount with residue. At this point, I like to explain why I continued experimenting given my journeys being at least a little scary to say the least. This has taken a very spiritual turn. I know the spirits, allies, little green men, whatever you want to call them, sound bizarre to say the least, and may be considered frightening. They didn't scare me so much as helped me find the right path to them. My friend, Todd, who sees himself as Johnny Appleseed and wants to turn on as many people as he can, has been experimenting with dosages for different people, giving the dosages they are ready for. Of course, he doesn't dose people out of their minds, until they are ready for it. He helped me with my dosage, which I just described, made sure that I was settled comfortably on the couch, then turned on some music he had been experimenting with. It was some sort of primordial music that he got online. He then left the room so I wouldn't be affected by him. I took 1 hit. The pins and needles, slanted shift of the world, and other effects I come to expect on the onset took place. I believe I took a 2nd hit. I felt myself being shot somewhere else. I heard my guides welcome me again, but this time they scared me. I had an awful feeling that I was going to get sucked into another dimension, and I desperately wanted to join reality again. Perhaps my ego is so strong that I have a hard time letting go. Somehow I managed my body enough to get up and run into the other room. We have a swinging door between the dining room and kitchen. At the moment I pushed the door open, Todd was pushing the door, trying to see what was wrong. I think I called his name out. Suddenly I believed he was keeping me in there. I thought he was in on some secret mission to detain me in some alternate universe. Yeah, I know how crazy it sounds. Finally, after a lifetime it seemed, I pushed the door open and grabbed him. I knew he would anchor me, and we stood there holding each other. When I became aware of my surroundings, and remembered smoking the salvia vaguely, I realized I was laughing hysterically. Todd had no idea what was going on, and we decided to talk about it at the table. I was still under the influence. Part of the sense that he had an ulterior motive was still with me. I had the awful sense that he wasn't human. I half begged him and half threatened him that if he knew something he had better tell me. I laugh now, thinking of it. It was another Matrix moment. Neither of us liked the idea of my not believing that this reality is real, to the point that other people, cats, dogs, children, etc., aren't true either. A rather scary interpretation.